How did you like how the offensive line played?
You know, I thought they did a nice job. I thought we left a few things out there in the run game, but from a protection standpoint, I thought they did really good. I thought Matt had a lot of time back there for the most part. The offensive line was credited with 1 sack on Braylon, and where he just didn't keep sliding. But other than that, I thought they did a really good job and gave Matt plenty of time to throw the football.
What about Matt's development over the course of the year as he's gotten more comfortable in your system?
Yeah, Matt's doing a really good job getting us in the right, all the right calls. I mean, you see him constantly, pointing his finger, getting us in the right protection call, getting us slid to the right, to the blitz. He's starting to pick up on that. He's starting to see defenses a lot better, safety rotation. So he's done a lot better with that. Where in the spring he was kind of struggling with that a lot and throughout fall camp. But as the season's gone, he's really done a really good job of getting us in the right protection calls. He takes an unbelievable amount of pride in that. You always see him asking, me or Coach Fry questions. Hey, Coach Fry, if I called this on this certain play, what's going to happen? Where is the offensive line going to go if I called this on this certain look? So he takes an unbelievable pride that I think a lot of our quarterbacks are going to take note on and do the same thing. I mean, asking the question's a great thing to do, especially when you got a guy like Coach Fry that's kind of coordinating all that up front with our protection schemes.
What have been the biggest challenges in incorporating your offense this first year? I mean, if you look at the stats, they're all the way up.
Yeah, the hardest thing, I think the biggest challenge for us is understanding where, where we were in our previous stop that, we had so much in. And we wanted to have all that in this year. And so the biggest challenge from us has just been from the coaching staff standpoint is, hey, we can't do everything we want to do. I know coaches, talked about it before. We don't have, about 50% of the playbook in, just because we can't. We want to do everything we were doing in year 3 at the last stop, but we can't do that here in year 1. It's just you couldn't have done it at the last stop. But as the guys learn the system and as they get more familiar with what we do and how we do it, the more stuff we can actually get in. And so as even next year, we won't have the whole playbook in next year. It'll continue to be a growing process, and hopefully by year 3 we're able to get just about everything in. And it all goes back to playing a lot of freshmen. You can't overload those guys. Those guys are coming from high school. Programs that they're great high school programs, but they don't ask them to do as much just because of a time standpoint. We have more time with those guys than they do in high school, and we ask them to do a lot here, especially at the running back position where we have 2 freshman running backs. We ask those guys to do a lot and understand a lot of the playbook.
With Matt's progression in reading defense, where does that come from? Is it from the conversations with coaches? Is it film studies? Is it just his natural progression as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think the more reps you get doing it, I think that helps. We have a period each week, actually pretty much every day on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, where we go with the offensive line and just pretty much sit there and just look at it. Look at the big picture. You get us in the right call, and so that's helped him, I think. But also, he spends a lot of time in the film room with the coaches. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that he's been in, and I've said this before, a lot of different systems before. And so I don't know what he's been asked to do in those previous systems, but you can tell Matt's been around the block, so to speak, and knows and has familiarity with defenses.
Does that lots of repetitions helping him out? Does that kind of carry over other positions on offense, like running backs being able to make the blitz, hold on to the ball, or receivers being able to recognize how somebody's lined up against them, or recognize a coverage,
for sure.
the option route or something? For
sure. This late in the season, we've been, like I said, we had all those periods. Even when I'm not down there, the running backs go with Coach Fry, and they work all that stuff to where we're all on the same page. And I think that's been really, really critical for us, is just going and making sure we're getting a lot of reps at that stuff. And actually, at the end of the year, you've done it so much that everybody starts seeing it. And you even have tackles pointing out, hey, blitz coming from the right or blitz coming from the left, or even those running backs are kind of seeing it this late in the season just by repetition.
Now, Coach talked about how maybe it was pinpoint on their execution. Now, you guys aren't at all about moral victories, but is one lesson from watching the film and the guys that, hey, this is a really good model of how to execute?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those guys are so disciplined. I mean, I know Coach talked about you could draw it up on a grease board, and that's exactly what they did. We knew going in the game they'd be very disciplined. They'd be in spots that that we're supposed to be in. You know, the biggest thing with us, I just felt like we never could get into a rhythm. You know, and we knew that going in. It wasn't something that we were shocked about, but with the weather getting a little chilly and just kind of not converting some first downs early in the game, I think kind of hurt us. If we'd have converted a few and you know, like our season's gone on the second drive of the game, you know, we have a hitch route called on 3rd and 2, and you know, it's going to be an easy completion. Guy jumps up and on the way down barely tips it. You know, on the way down barely tips it, not on the way up. And so you know, if we convert that, we're rolling. But instead, we go 3 and out, get their offense the ball back. And so you know, we just got to do a better job. And again, I keep stressing that to our guys, that how important it is to gain 4+. We want 4 yards on first down so that we're not into a 3rd and long situation, which we weren't in that situation. But just how important it is for us to pick up 3rd downs. I think we're only 3 of 10 on 3rd downs the other night. That's not good. And so we got to be better in that regard. And we actually wanted to be 60% in our game against Navy on 3rd downs, just because we knew what they were capable of on offense and keeping the ball away from you and eating clock. And so we got to continue just to get better with our 3rd down conversions.
When you face such a disciplined team, you guys do that going in, how does that change your, as a staff's approach to game planning? Is it more of you have to rely on different schemes to fool them in a sense, or you just have to really stress having to out-execute yourself?
Yeah, just out-execute them. I mean, we felt like we had a good plan. You know, again, like I said, we left a few things out there in the running game. I wish we'd have done a little bit better. But in terms of that, we just, you know, we got to be ourselves. No matter who we play, even this week against Tulane, we got to be ourselves. We got to do what we do and do it well. And we can't take a play off. We can't, you know, do that. But against a team like Navy that's very disciplined, you know where they're going to be. So it's really becomes a me whip you mentality. It's one-on-one battles is what we say all the time. If you win your one-on-one battle, we'll have a good chance to win and to gain a lot of yards. So.
You mentioned your 2 freshman running backs. What did they learn? What have you seen them? Where have you seen them progress here through 10 games?
You know, just as their year has gone on, you know, we told them after the game 6 that, hey, you're no longer freshmen. That was last season, you're a freshman. You know, we talked about that, but they've really done a good job of just getting an overall knowledge of the system. I would say, you know, that first couple weeks, I think they were just kind of trying to hang on. I think now they have a really good knowledge of the system and what we're trying to do. And Coach Mathis is always, you know, talking about those guys. He's always coaching them how to make a guy miss, because we get them on the safety, you got to make them miss. And we've done a little bit better job of that. But they've really progressed, and really it's going to take an off season with those guys just to get, you know, physically ready for a long season that we're in right now.
Is protecting the quarterback always big with freshmen too?
Big time, yeah, big time. And Coach Mathis has even, you know, made a comment to us that he won't even look at a running back if you don't think he can hold up in protection because of what we ask, you know, those guys to do. But it definitely is a big thing that those guys have had to learn. They've had to learn, you know, defensive structures like Matt, like I was talking about with Matt, but they've had to learn how to pick up, you know, where is that guy coming, where is that extra guy coming from, and what scheme is best to get it protected and all that stuff, that they've done a really good job of learning.
As they develop into better pass protection, obviously Xavier and Braden aren't as big as Prescott line. How much of their improvement will be better technique, and how much of it will be simply added size and strength?
It's going to be both. It's going to take both. I mean, size and strength is definitely, I mean, that's obvious. That's obvious with any freshman, that they're not quite as mature or filled out as much as an older guy like Prescott is. But you know, again, it's going to take a great off season with those guys, you know, to continue to work technique. You know, Coach Mathis has, again, worked a lot on drills to help them out on pass protection stuff. And like, just for instance, Braden, man, I think I mentioned this before about, you know, picking up Mason Gentry in practice. I mean, he's not afraid. I mean, those guys aren't afraid. That's the key is they can't be scared, and they're not scared. They'll stick their face in the fan, so to speak, what we call it, stick your face in the fan, and they're not scared to do that. Again, Braden picked up Mason Gentry. I mean, he didn't, hold up, but at least he did it, When 160 pounds soaking wet, that's hard to do on a 290-pound guy, 300-pound guy. But what's encouraging with that is that he's not afraid and he's not scared.
You and Coach Morris have talked all year about how Cortland Sutton obviously has drawn a lot of attention. The need to have a second receiver emerge as a consistent, viable threat downfield. Kevin Thomas caught the long touchdown the other day, but has he or anyone else started to emerge in your eyes as that legit second threat to help take some attention away from Cortland?
Yeah, we've asked a lot of those guys to just try to do more, but I'll put it on Cortland really. I'm watching the Monday Night Football game last night, and you see a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who we've coached before. I think John Gruden said something about how Coach O'Brien challenged him at halftime, and you saw what he did. He came out and made an unbelievable catch. So, no matter what the defense is doing to Cortland, Cortland's got to be Cortland. Cortland's got to be that guy. I mean, if that's who he wants to be in this system, he plays the same position DeAndre did. He's got to be that guy to go up and make a play, no matter what the defense does. Now, in terms of the other receivers, obviously we got to have some guys emerge and some guys to help take that off of him. Xavier Castillo made an unbelievable catch on the third down the other night that was thrown behind him. It was a great catch. Kevin Thomas, KT, he went up and made a heck of a catch in the end zone too. So we got guys emerging. Guys are starting to, take a little bit of ownership in it. Shelby had a great block on a run, about a 30-yard run by Xavier Jones. He had a great block down the field. So I think we got a bunch of guys that are a lot of blue-collar guys right now that have bought in and they're working hard. And like I said, they got to continue to practice that way though too. They can't just show up on Saturdays and expect to play good. It's got to be an everyday thing with those guys, like a Jerry Rice mentality that we talk about. Jerry Rice never took a play off, whether practice or in a game. And so that's the mentality they got to continue to have and continue to get better. And eventually somebody will emerge as that guy. But right now we just got, by committee, we got a bunch of blue-collar guys that work hard and are ready for the ball whenever it's thrown to them.
You guys won turnover margin for your first 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, have not. Is that a result of maybe pressing or taking more risks later on in the season?
Yeah, I think early in the season we did have a few turnovers, and I think Coach Malone would, we'll talk about this as well. But I think from a turnover margin standpoint, while we're not winning that, I know Coach Malone will talk about this, but we're not getting any turnovers, but we are still turning the ball over. And so we got to, from an offensive standpoint, we got to protect the football. I don't really know how much more emphasis we could put on that. And the other night, we had a pick late in the game. Would that have been the difference in the game? I don't know, but they still got 7 points off of it. And then Garrett obviously threw one there at the very end trying to make a play. But would that have turnover made a difference in the game? I don't know, but again, we've stressed that all year. That's been a huge key to victory for us is win the turnover margin, and it's scary that we're not. It's scary that we're just continuing to put the ball in jeopardy. We did have a fumble that got recovered by Shelby, which was a great job by Shelby. He won the second effort award because of that. But just putting the ball on the ground and not having it, we got to protect that football, man. That's the most important thing in any game. But for us right now, we've got to protect the football to have a chance. And that's, again, this week is another key to our victory this week. And we feel like if we can protect the football, we'll have a really good chance of winning.
What does the Tulane defense do best, or what concerns you the most about the defense you're going to see this week?
They're very athletic, man. They're very athletic. They're good up front. Number 77, man, he wreaks havoc in there, does a really good job. They're real long, athletic guys that can run, and you know that by their scheme. They're not afraid to play man coverage. And that just goes to show you that their defensive coordinator feels that they're really confident in those guys to be able to play man on anybody, and that's what they've done. And but the biggest, the most important thing this week is, like it is most weeks, is we got to win up front. We got to be able to control the line of scrimmage and do some things to open up other things in our play, in our system.